manifesting is not just a mystical thing to give people false hope. It's a true reality. It's the way the universe works. It's the energy of our existence. And it's about us finding and honing in on that secret and using it to our benefit. So today, let's talk about manifesting. Let's go. Welcome to Phoenix Rising, a superior podcast for all of your transformative tools for personal and spiritual growth. Let's go get that nugget. Hey guys, it's Jen Mack, Lady of the Mind. Welcome to today's episode where I hope I am finding you using the skill of manifesting. If you're not using the skill to manifest the life you want to live, then it is my intention that in today's episode, I give you just one nugget of inspiration towards your transformation. We are all transforming, and the art of manifesting is the art of transforming. So I remember hearing this word a long time ago. I was investing in some properties, and I'd put an ad in the paper about manifesting. I did not put an ad in the paper about manifesting. I put an ad in the paper about investing. And I was looking for property investors to help me select real estate and properties and basically becoming a team with me to invest in properties. Anyway, and I meet this one girl. We went to Borders bookstore and we met, we had coffee. And I said, we do the little small chat and small talk and whatever. And I said, okay, so I pull out my folder and my book and write her name and her phone number and stuff down. And I said, okay, so you want to be an investor? And she's like, yeah. And I said, how much would you like to invest? And she goes, I want to invest like $10,000. I'm like, okay, great. And then she goes, but I don't have it yet. And I'm like, okay. And she says, I'm working on manifesting it. And I'm like, you're what now? And she goes, I'm working on manifesting it. And then she gave me a very loose description of what that meant. And needless to say, I left feeling quite perplexed and a little bit like, like, dude, what are you talking about? And she was like, let's say we met on Monday. It was like, I know it was early in the week, doesn't matter. And she's like, by Friday, I'll have the money. And I'm like, okay, she's going to manifest it. I've never heard that word before. But anyway, I left feeling a little bit doubtful that I was ever going to hear from her again. And lo and behold, I didn't. So years and years later, I heard the word again, and it was a friend of mine who had written a book about spiritual energies and ghosts and was talking about manifesting. We had him and his wife then come over, and we were having a campfire in the backyard, and we were talking about manifesting. And he's like, basically, practice something like that is really unusual that you never see and repeat it, and then just basically go about your day and see if you see that thing. And I'm like, okay, he's like, I said, like what? And he's like, well, like a purple kangaroo. I'm like, okay, that's weird. He's like, but he goes, if you see it, then you will know that it's because you manifested it. And I said, okay, like this is weird, but okay. And so we did, and we all kind of did the same thing. And I was pretty filled with doubt. Like I wanted to believe, and I think I just didn't know how to think about it. I didn't know what to manifest. And so I think I kind of didn't do anything. My dad, however, was there, and he is super skeptical and super suspicious about things, doesn't believe that there's an outer power, doesn't believe in God, doesn't believe in any existence, though he believes in aliens. It's super weird. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, so he's like, okay, yeah, I'll go with, purple kangaroos. Anyway, he was heading downstate like the next day. So everybody leaves. He and I kind of talk about it a little bit, and I don't really know how I wanted to believe in it, but I didn't really, I want to say like it didn't really fall for it. So anyway, so he leaves. He's driving a few hours downstate. He calls me when he gets there, and he goes, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what's that? And he goes, a couple hours after I left your house, he's like, I stopped at the gas station and I was going in getting gas, and I was going in to pay for gas and get a cup of coffee. On the way into the gas station, there's a little girl coming out who has a stuffed purple kangaroo in her hands. And he was like, dude, like that's super weird. And I said, Dad, I think you're doing it. And he's like, well, I don't really know, He's like, but he goes, it got weirder. He's like, so I'm now driving down the road. He's like, that was super weird, whatever. And he's like, I get back on the expressway. I'm driving down the road. and I see on a billboard a purple kangaroo, and it was for some kids' playhouse or something. And he's like, I don't remember what the ad was for, but it was, something to do with kids. One of the things on the billboard was a purple kangaroo. And then he goes, and then I'm driving, and on the side of the road, by the tax things, where someone's always like shaking the sign and trying to get your attention, like for, turning in your taxes, or here's it, whatever. And on the sign was, you guessed it, a purple kangaroo. So we started talking about it, and he was still pretty skeptical. And at this point, I'm like, is there something to this? Well, I don't remember when this was. This was probably like 2008 or 9 or something like that. And this was after 2010, because Bob had moved in. So which is my son that I adopted. And he had moved in, and he moved in 2010. So this was probably like 2011, like late 2011. I'm sorry, early 2011. Doesn't matter when the date was. I'm so sorry. Anyways. And so I'm like, there's something to this. And I was already kind of on my journey about meditation. And then I was thinking about the law of attraction. Well, if you know anything about manifesting or meditation and the law of attraction, they all go in the same group. They all belong together. So I got sucked into the realm of books, but at that time, I couldn't look up anything about manifesting. There was nothing anywhere. There's no articles. There was no apps on in the Google App Store. There were no books about it. There was nothing. So I'm like, I'm wondering about, and that's the same with the law of attraction, but I'm like wondering about the law of attraction and meditation. So then I dove headfirst into meditation. And then you already know part of the journey years ago, I was looking for what does meditation mean? Like, what am I supposed to do in my head? How is it supposed to feel? And I would get done meditating, and I would always ask, did I do it? Was I successful? And if you have to ask that question, then the answer is no automatically. So there's your first clue right there. So, but when I dove into meditation, and then I dove into the power of your subconscious mind, and that is the author Joseph Murphy. Well, I dove into his teachings, which was, early, it's like mid to late 1940s or something. So the language is a little bit different. So it broadened my language and talked a lot about, none of it was about manifesting. It was about your subconscious mind. And then I didn't write anything. And then I read James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. As a man thinketh, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And I'm like, okay, wait, this is all coming around. And then I read Neville Goddard. And Neville Goddard is all about manifesting, and he's all about meditation and using your imagination. And I'm like, wait a second, there's something here. And the more I read, the more I saw the parallels between what all of these teachers, these new thought teachers, were teaching. And I'm like, wait a second. So when this person says manifesting, this person says law of attraction, this person says meditation, this person says subconscious mind, they're all the same. Then there in my life coaching program, or my life coaching teaching, I decided that I'm going to merge spirituality with science. And then it just got bigger and bigger and deeper and deeper. And I've read hundreds of books since then. The parallel is undeniable. The work is undeniable. It is proof after proof after proof with my clients, myself. I work with Amy. I work with the kids. I work with my clients. I work with my family. And it's 100%. I've not failed at all. And now I'm working on bigger and broader things. And I'm seeing the benefits of it immediately. So the first thing, and this is step one, is this is about waking up. This is about, as you're listening to these words right now, it is about the journey inward. Every one of my podcasts is about the journey inward, because that is the waking up process. It doesn't exist outside of you. Neville Goddard says, forget the mirror and change your face. And I'm like, that's so brilliant. But let me explain. If I stand in front of the mirror, let's say as a health perspective, let's say I'm overweight. Let's say I'm 50 pounds overweight. I stand in front of the mirror and I look at myself in the mirror, the reflection, and I see something that I don't like, our normal response as humans is to punch the mirror, break the glass. What did that change? Nothing. Now, the parallel to that is that's what we do in our world. The world is our reflection. Our experience is our reflection. So if somebody does something in our world that we don't like, we typically don't punch them, but we try to get them to do something different. Like the mirror. We want them to change, to make ourselves feel better. Well, here's the thing. The outside expression is your energy inside being reflected on the outside. So here's what I've been doing for years is go about your day with your kids, with your spouse, with your job, with your stuff, your car, your money, your stuff, your relationships, whatever. And things that trigger you, that make you upset, this is where you get away from the mirror. You ignore the mirror, like Neville Goddard says, like turn away from the mirror and change your face. Is ignore the outside and go, that thing triggered me. That thing upset me. That thing is stupid. I want that thing outside to change. And then you go inside. You close your eyes and you go inward and you dissolve the trigger. Here's the thing that happens. Once you dissolve the trigger, the outside thing changes. Once you change your face and you look back, so you go in, if it's the weight loss thing, you don't punch the mirror, you go in and you change your concept of yourself. You change how you feel. You change what you think about. You change your beliefs. You take the ceiling off your life. And you then go back to the mirror and you're like, there I am, 50 pounds lighter, thinner, fitter, stronger. Okay? You don't punch the mirror. Punching the mirror does nothing. It doesn't change it. Telling your kids to act a certain way, or your spouse, or your boss, or the traffic, or the politicians to act a certain way so you can feel better is doing it backwards. What you do is you go out into the world, you see the thing that upsets you, you go inside, you change the thing, you release the pain, you release the trigger, and the outside world changes. That's the direction. Okay? We use the outside world to see what's going on. We use the outside world to decipher the concept I have of myself. So here's your homework. Here's the things. This I wish I had back then when I was thinking and talking about, but meditating and manifesting, is the two things go hand in hand. First thing you need to do is you go into your workshop, which hopefully if you've listened to a couple of these, you've heard me talk about this, is you get your journal, you get your notebook, you get your color pencils, you get whatever, and you start to decide, what do you want to change? Now you can work on something simple and easy to start giving you, I call it the confident loop. You perform some thought, then some belief, some words, some action. And then once you see the results of your action, it builds up this confidence and that closes the loop. Then you're more apt to do the thing again. Okay. So that confident loop, you could do something easy like a purple kangaroo if you wanted to. Or if you're like me, like an overachiever, is you like dive head first. What is it that you want? What is one thing you want to change? And then getting clear about that. Get clear about that thing. And then you you describe that thing. Let's say it's health. Let's say it's 50 pounds. Okay. And your topic is health. The goal is to lose 50 pounds. And then what's right underneath that? What would happen? How would you feel if you lost 50 pounds? Would you feel confident? Would you feel beautiful? Would you feel sexy? Would you feel strong? Would you feel like happy? Would it be fun for you? What would you do? How would your life change if you lost 50 pounds? You have to create the scene. This is the creative process because what you're doing is creating. Instead of creating by default, instead of bumbling it around out there in the world, getting mad about what's showing up, and then trying to get the world to change through the art of complaining. It's not going to change. You're creating a loop of recreating the same thing over and over again and wondering why nothing's changing. So once you get clear on your desire And then you figure out why it is you want the desire. What would it give you? What would be the emotional response? Then the third thing is that you take that whole scene, you take all those beliefs, you take those words to create that emotional state. When you create that emotional state, you are creating. Now, sometimes you could do this for 5 minutes and feel confident because you're going to try to come around to the loop. So when you're done, you know you're done. And I'll explain this a little bit in just a second. Is you get in there, you close your eyes, you close out the world, right? You get away from the mirror. The mirror is your world. That's your existence. That's the 3D world you're experiencing. Get away from the kids, get away from the boss, get away from the cars, the bills, the stuff. You go in some quiet space and you close your eyes. Turn out the environment. And you bring your awareness. Now here's the stuff. Pay attention here. You bring your awareness to inside. Bring all your awareness to your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are your dominant thoughts about health? If that's the topic. What are your dominant thoughts about health? Which ones do not align with you getting thin and fit and strong? That one thought that says, I'll always be fat. The one thought that says, I don't know what to eat. The one thought that says, but I love Burger King too much, right? Those thoughts do not align with this new healthy version of you. Now, in the very beginning, I say, I want to give you a nugget towards your transformation. That's my intention, right? Well, you must transform. Let's look at the caterpillar again. In the beginning, he's a caterpillar. And in order to transform and have the freedom to fly, he must go where? Where does he go? He goes inward. The butterfly is located inside the caterpillar already. He's already there. He must go inward. If you've ever watched this process, I suggest getting some butterfly eggs, hatching them. It's a magnificent process to witness. And the whole thing is like, it's over in 3 weeks. And the whole life from an egg to literally a butterfly, the whole process is like 21 days. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. And we raised a couple of butterflies. I should say raised literally 3 weeks and a couple of years ago anyway. And it like is so miraculous, but it's such a depiction of you and your life if you want change. You must go inward to create the change and the desire. You must become one. So I've told the story about transformation, about a caterpillar. So let's kind of animate this a little bit. So there's a caterpillar. He's complaining about his life. And he's like, man, I'm so sick of eating these leaves on this tree. I really wish I could go down in that garden where those beautiful flowers are. And then he sees a butterfly come up and land right next to him. And he's like, dude, wow, you're so beautiful and so free. You can do anything you want and go anywhere you want. I really wish I could do that too. And the butterfly goes, you can. The power is within you. You just have to want it. You just have to create the desire. And then you go inward because a butterfly already exists within you. And the caterpillar's like, dude, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. He's like, but I'm going to try. I'm going to think about my desire. And the butterfly fluttered off and went down into the garden and landed on these beautiful flowers. And the caterpillar was sitting there and he was watching, and the desire grew and grew and grew inside him. And he became completely obsessed with this desire that's becoming one with the desire. And then he goes, I think I'm going to contemplate this. I think I'm really going to do this because what have I got to lose? I'm miserable over here on this tree. I'm miserable eating the same leaves. I want to do what he's doing. I want to have that freedom to create the life that I want to live. And so he went up in the branches and he spun a silk cocoon that hardened and turned into a chrysalis. And he's inside this chrysalis. He's turned away from the environment. Instead of complaining to the other caterpillars, instead of complaining about his life and being irritated and discouraged, he closed out the environment He got into this meditative state within this chrysalis, contemplating becoming a butterfly. And within just a short period of time, 10 days, 11 days, 14 days, he's ready. And he emerges a whole new version of himself. And he pumps blood into his wings. He breathes life into his wings. And within just minutes, he himself spreads his beautiful wings and flutters down to the same garden. And he sees the same butterfly. And he flies over to him and he sits on the flower right next to him and he goes, "I did it." And the butterfly said, "I knew you had it in you," because it's in all of us. We just must be clear on the desire. Get clear about what it is you want. Please wake up. Stop complaining about your life and how it's turned out, because it is turning that way because of the concepts that you have about yourself, the beliefs that you hold within your heart about you. And those beliefs are putting that limit on your whole entire life, on your career, your relationships, your money, your spiritual connection, your ability to create. We don't connect through complaining. It doesn't do anything but perpetuate this whole cycle of doubt. So get clear about your desire. Create the scene that you want to live. Create living that scene, going into your mind and living that scene, and bring people into the scene. Bring people in with you, your family, your friends, anybody who will benefit, but just see life and vibrancy in the scene in your mind and be in there full as you, as a version of you looking through your own eyes, emerging and engaging with that scene until you feel the emotional state of it being complete. Until, that's such a powerful word right there. Until you feel, now it could take you 5 minutes, it could take you 2 hours, but please do it. This is creating. Please stop living a life that's a lie, that the outside world exists. It is just a mere image of all of the people and their beliefs and their thoughts and their concepts of themselves. So get clear, create the scene, and go in there and play. Play with the scene until you feel like it's complete. This is stepping into the version of you that is higher than the version right now that is living this existence. If you want to change it, you can. Just like the butterfly, he says, "I knew you could do it because you had it in you." If you can come up with the idea, it's complete. If you could come up with that concept, the new version of yourself, it's there. It is in you. And all you have to do is want it bad enough. It's just about wanting it bad enough that you can create the scene. I believe in you, and I will continue from this day forward to believe in you until you, my friend, believe in yourself. Thank you for listening. If you liked that episode, please subscribe, like, and write a review. Let me know how that landed with you. If you'd like to support this podcast, please check out in the show notes where you could buy me a chai tea, or you can join my newest podcast membership for exclusive episodes, guided meditations, and transformative exercises that you won't find anywhere else. For more transformational tools, techniques, and programs, check out my website, theenrichmentacademy.com. Bring your journal, open your heart, and let's get ready for some serious transformation.